Hey everybody, wanted to do a quick update video. Wanted to first talk a little bit about some changes in terms of my testosterone intake. A few months ago, I started noticing that, well, it was more the lack of noticing that happened a few months ago, where I was not seeing a lot of changes, or any, for that matter. I've been on T for for a little over a year and a half now, and not seeing changes, noticeable changes at this point, seemed a little odd, whereas I'd heard most folks would see noticeable changes for at least 2 to 3 years. I'm sure, obviously, everybody's experiences are different, and obviously depends on dosage and all that kind of stuff, but I've also been on a relatively low dosage, weekly 0.6 for the majority of that year and a half, except for the first few months when I was on 0.5 weekly. And also in the last 2 months, I'd seen my mood drops be a little bit more, a little lower than usual in terms of between injections. And one of the things I had been experiencing a few months back was on Thursdays when I would take testosterone, I would feel kind of right in my throat my voice dropping. And it hadn't been happening for quite a few shots in a row. So I decided to check in with my doc about potentially upping my dosage. And she approved it and felt I had legitimate reasons to feel like I needed a higher level, and also that I wasn't necessarily increasing by much. So I went from 0.6 to 0.75 weekly, which really isn't much. And 0.75 feels like a really tiny little, a bit difficult to find on a needle in terms of being accurate, so sometimes I'm at 0.8, sometimes I'm at 0.7, so I just kind of average out at 0.75. And in any case, so I've been doing that for the last 3, maybe 4 weeks, and definitely feel a little bit happier with how things are going now. I've gotten back to my mood feeling more level, more kind of average, feeling sad and happy and whatever else, and kind of what feels average and appropriate intensities for what feels normal for me. Obviously, there's a whole range of appropriateness by person and all that, but I just wanted to have those feelings in a way that felt normal to me. So that's been feeling better. The other thing has also been the increase in facial hair growth. I talked, I think in one of my last videos, about body hair growth being really, really there. So I definitely have a hairy chest and stomach area. I wouldn't say intensely hairy or anything. I'm not growing a rug on me, but just kind of, I'm a Middle Eastern dude for sure. And leg hair and all that kind of stuff. Pretty much the majority of my leg is covered in hair, except for like a couple of tiny patches. Whereas my facial hair was still being really, really patchy. And now the last 3 or so weeks, it feels a little bit more, I'll just come a little closer. It feels a little bit more like it fills out on the sides. It's always been pretty well covered in terms of this area. I shave here regularly, and I shave my upper lip pretty regularly. I had upper lip hair for the majority of my life, even before T, so I wasn't surprised that was growing fast. So that's been that. The receding hairline is still receding. I'm glad to still have hair on top. I'll hold on to every bit of that for as long as I can. And then probably shave it off when it starts looking like it needs to be. Let's see, what else? yeah, I think that's been about it in terms of tea stuff. Last time I made a video, I talked about my grandma passing away, on my paternal grandmother, and the impact that had on me. And I'm still kind of processing a lot of that, and I know that it's gonna take a while, because like I said, at that point, this has been the first loss of my family to death. So it still feels new, and it's very new territory for me emotionally. So still kind of processing it, a lot of it, mostly internally, which is where I need to be with this stuff. But I kind of got really agitated this past weekend, because my family, particularly my family on my mother's side, is planning a trip to Lebanon, because it's my maternal grandmother's 90th birthday this summer. And so folks have been talking about wanting to go, and initially the conversation was to go sometime in mid to late July, which I was really excited about, and wanting to hear, kind of a confirmation, and excited to try this. I mean, it's definitely going to cost a lot of money to go, and it's not the greatest time of the year in terms of programming, but in terms of my work, but it's not a horrible time of the year either, so I really wanted to. But then some things happened in terms of different people's lives and schedules, and there are several people who can't do it in July anymore. And so the trip is now being planned for August, which is a completely hands-off period in terms of my job. Like, there's no way I can take any time off in August. Mid-August on, it's go, go, go to begin with, so the first half is really prepping for that go, go, go time. And in so many different ways, in terms of planning programming for the next few months, in terms of student trainings, and logistical and administrative stuff for the office, and just a laundry list of things. So I was really, really agitated, not at anyone, but just agitated at those circumstances kind of coming together like that, and not being able to go see Grandma, especially now, where I really feel like I need to see her. And my grandma's doing well, considering her age. Like, she's healthy. She's been to the doc a few times lately, but for someone who's about to turn 90, she's got her spirits together, and she's great. So it's not that sort of concern, but I mean, my other grandma just passed away, so definitely wanted to see her. And it was tough to try to explain the whole I can't take off in August thing to my mother, but also particularly to my sister. I think she's taken Grandma's death particularly hard, so she really wants the family to go. And I get it, totally get it. The other thing all of that really brought up too was my paperwork. So I have a Lebanese passport, so the travel to Lebanon isn't necessarily the issue. It's just my passport says female, and so does my birth certificate. And I don't know what sort of, I haven't traveled since, and not internationally. I haven't traveled internationally since starting to transition, so I have no idea what any of that is going to be like. Particularly going to Lebanon and Cyprus, and what it all means. I'm sure my doctor and surgeon can write up letters and that kind of stuff, but it's still kind of like this, again, I'm just territory that I haven't looked into or found people that know much about how I go about things in Lebanon and Cyprus around this sort of documentation and identity issues. And I felt like if I was going to go, I would want to look into changing stuff, and it just, yeah. Anyway, it just brought up a lot of stuff with that, and so I just felt really, really agitated all weekend. But all is well, and hopefully, maybe things will change, and there'll be a trip in July instead. But if it is in August, maybe that's kind of the universe's way of protecting me from passport issues and identity issues, and me getting trapped somewhere where I don't need to be at this point in my life. But it is what it is. One of the things I haven't really talked about here is I've decided that I really need to go back to school, go back to getting my PhD, and starting to explore a little bit what I would want to do my doctorate in. I have a lot of different interests. Some of them intersect a lot, but I'm trying to kind of figure out exactly what I want to pursue. It's really, really exciting to go down this road of asking these questions to myself, but also talking to people who have doctorates or who are in programs now about their processes and all that kind of stuff. So I started creating this long list of programs to look into. Yeah. So the first page is actually all programs in sociology and cultural studies and women's and gender studies and critical theory studies and all that kind of stuff. So that, I think, is the bulk of what I'm really, really interested in, or like history of consciousness and social movement studies and that kind of thing. So I would really love to go into something like that. And then the second list, the shorter one, is higher education and continuing in my field, and particularly social justice ed or social thought in education, so kind of like intersecting sociology and education. But yeah, so I'm starting to look into that kind of stuff a little bit. I've been lucky in finding a couple of folks here at Vanderbilt who are willing to help me out a little bit with it. So I need to get on my game and start working on some of this. Start studying for the GREs, and all that fancy stuff that goes into going into grad school. It's definitely been a while since that, so I'm kind of a little bit nervous about what all the work this is going to take, but I'm excited, and I'm just really looking forward to seeing what's next for me. I've definitely felt like Nashville isn't my end point. It's not feeling like home. Trying to give it as many chances as possible and still open to that concept, but I'm getting a lot of signals, a lot of signs that this is not the place for me. So I'm happy being here for the time being, but not for too long. But yeah, I think that's about it in terms of my updates. I know this was kind of a little bit dry, so try to make the next one a little bit more interesting sounding. I don't know. But anyway, thanks for listening, folks, and I'll talk to y'all next time.